Hello and welcome. Today I'd like to demo 3 matches that we recorded with the latest version of our USC Starcraft AI, playing against the normal Blizzard AI on 2 maps, Fading Realm and Astral Balance. These are 1v1 maps, and I think these 3 matches are pretty representative of the state of our AI right now as of around April 25th, 26th. This is the latest build, and let's get going with the first match, Terran versus Protoss. So we started out in the lower left-hand corner. Our AI is strictly Terran, since just owing to time and the complexities of a game like StarCraft, we wanted to concentrate on one race, so let's speed it up here. As we start out, it's a fairly standard build, although there is no explicit build order, it's just a set of priorities that are executing here. We're using a behavior tree for our AI implementation. So we see we're building a couple barracks, building supply depots, refinery, more supply depots to keep up with supply, and starting to pump out Marines here. Once we get this academy going, we're going to start building some medics. So you see our first medics here. Also building ComSat, continuing to build supply depots to keep up. Slow it a little bit down here because it's going pretty fast. Fire bats. The unit composition is at a pretty fixed ratio of 3:1 right now for Marines to medics and fire bats, so that can change depending on the race, but right now I think it's still fixed at 3:1 versus Protoss. You can see up here in the upper left, we're scouting, sending SCVs intermittently. We're also expanding. You can see right here, we're also, as we expand, we rally units to the forward expansion. We also build up the expansion with production facilities, so we have factories, barracks, another barracks. Continuing to send SCVs up here to figure out what's going on. We haven't really been attacked yet, so we'll see what happens here if we attack first or they attack us. We're continuing to build out both here in the main base. We're researching all the time, so like siege for tanks, spider mines, ion thrusters for our vultures. As well as back here we have researched range and stim previously. Have an engineering bay researching unit weapons. Right now, okay, so we're attacking here. It's based both on the amount of units we have, the amount of units they have, and the amount of minerals we've accumulated. So at a certain point we sort of just attack regardless, but we usually after our first attack we try to be more intelligent about it. You saw there a Dark Templar got killed. We comsatted that. That was actually something tricky to implement our AI, given how we have to work with the Broodwar API interface. It's not easy to keep track of stealth units and units that pop in and out of visibility. As you see here, we're still attacking. We only have a few units left on our attack here. We're sending in reinforcements right now, dealing with units that they send in to reinforce. Here comes the main guys. As you saw again there's another Dark Templar that we built with. We're laying down some mines here with our vultures. Continuing to take out the main base. We're going to leave these guys here. We're going to wipe out the rest. We're going to go over here to this expansion that we know about it. We've previously scouted it, so going in here. This is like one of the problems with our AI that we try to figure out easy solutions for, but it's something that we have to think more about, is how to group AI or group our units better. In real games, you'll see a lot of pros. They have what's called a Terran bioball, where they have a huge, massive units that move sort of as one. It was something that we took stabs at implementing, but we never really did a really consistent, thorough job with it. So we have a problem sometimes with units just running to their suicide death single file. But you can see here we're just stomping through guys. We're up to 108 supply now. Really just churning out units, continuing to churn out stuff. We're teching up. We got Goliaths going on. All sorts of stuff. And we're just really rampaging through them right now. And it's less expansion. Pretty much all they have. Don't really have anything else. So that's that for that game. So for our second match here, we're going to do the mirror match, Terran versus Terran. From what I remember, this was a pretty epic match. We went pretty high tech-wise, and the unit count got pretty high at the end too, so take a look here. Speed it up first. Actually, don't remember which corner of the map we're in, but we should be able to tell pretty quickly from how we start. Yeah, this is us up here at the top left. The AI is the yellow, or the Blizzard AI is the yellow in the bottom. They go barracks first, actually, so it's interesting. We're laying down our first barracks, though, up here, and our second. Some things I didn't talk about last time, gathering. It's actually pretty intelligent in terms of how it gathers minerals. It saturates the minerals by the ones that are least mined at the current time. So like it keeps track of how many SCVs are mining each mineral, and it picks out the ones that are least saturated until it gets up to full saturation. It immediately puts 3 SCVs up on the refinery when it spawns. Researching, didn't highlight this last time, but we get stim and range sort of as default. We have research behaviors for a lot of the lower level upgrades, so like stim, like I said, infantry armor and weapons, ship plating, vehicle plating, and weapons. So you can see here they're going to try attacking us. They have a fairly similar composition, no fire bats, but I think we'll probably be easily able to defend against this if they come in here. Yeah, we wiped them out pretty well. So that is an example of our base defense AI. It's fairly simple, but works fairly well. All of our infantry units, or at least the Marines, and to some extent the medics, are controlled by individual state machines, so sort of the micro management of those units are handled by state machines, and then sort of the group movement and attacks are driven by the behavior tree behaviors. So again, we're expanding here, we're building SCVs, starting to mine at this base, and then building it out with production facilities, supply depots, full gamut really of stuff, building vultures and researching mines again. Researching siege for siege tanks, and again just teching out, keeping up with supply, because at this point we're really just hammering units. You know, we're staying at like 50 minerals. We're just meeting, you know, requirements for how much we can build. So we're attacking here, doing fairly well. One thing I'd like to add in future iterations for this is taking into account terrain or not at this point. So that's sort of an issue. If you're on low ground fighting against high ground units, you're at a disadvantage. We should be taking account for that, but we're not really. So our units are sort of attacking, sort of not. Okay, here we are. We're starting to attack. As you can see, we have race now, so this is an example of our air attack behavior. We got lots actually coming in here. Yeah, units are still like funneling in. Space sort of on a timer, and depends really. We try not like to spam the attack. We want it to be intelligent about choosing attack targets, and part of this behavior is driven by the state machines, so we're not like individually controlling all the micromanagement units were sort of like selecting targets and then feeding that to the state machine. So there we go. That was fairly good. We got up to about 140 supply there, and worked our way up the tech tree to air units that time. And I'm back for our last match that we're going to show today. This last match is versus Zerg. Zerg was actually the most problematic for us in terms of winning matches consistently against the Blizzard Stock AI. One of the reasons for that is, again, I talked about in the first video with the Protoss, is dealing with cloaked units or burrowed units, so in this case lurkers. You'll see in this video how the AI deals with that with the ComSat scans, but it's a difficult problem to deal with and do it consistently and smartly, because otherwise, since we even with our modifications to behaviors as the matches grow on, we're still using infantry heavy build. We don't like switch it completely over to mechs. There's always still a chance that we build more infantry, and we usually do, just because we macro so heavily throughout the game that it ends up usually being an infantry heavy army composition, so we have to be careful about lurkers and things like that because they're hard counters for most infantry units. So again, this is fairly familiar. The exact timing of this sometimes changes. Sometimes the refinery comes late, sometimes we build extra supply depots, sometimes Academy comes earlier than not. But this is fairly standard for what we do. In the cases of things like Zergling rushes, our SCVs have it's part of our base defense behavior, where our SCVs will actually come off the mineral line and defend, at least against the version of the Zergling rush that the Blizzard AI uses. We can pretty easily defend against it. Something more drastic like a 6-pull rush we might have more trouble with. It just really comes down to unit micro. We have pretty good, but I think you could probably develop an AI that would counter ours, at least for microing the Zerglings against our SCVs. It would be interesting to see. I'll probably explore that a little bit later. So again, we're scouting and we're also expanding. So we're intermittently scouting. The reason for just like we should probably have the scouting on more of a intermittent timer, because at some point you're just sacrificing SCVs, but since we are playing as a human player, we need to constantly refresh our view of the world, so we want to see where all the enemy buildings are as real time as we can. We want to see what their unit composition is like, so you can get a sense of how we stack against them. But again, we're building out as we have in the past. We're rallying units up here to our forward base. We're building another ComSat. That's really vital for this match, as we're about to see. So let me slow this down actually to get in here. So we're doing some damage here. See your ComSat right as this burrows to sort of mitigate against that. The Marines try to select targets pretty intelligently, but they also try to dance around a little bit to, yeah, so we ComSatted that. Fortunately, we don't have the units to really take it out right now, so actually we do, because we got that extra scan in there. But this guy is going to cause some damage maybe. We still had that latent scan there, so we got saved by that. But that's also the advantage of having extra ComSat stations around. We always have that extra scan ready to go to save us in instances like that. So we're continuing to build, throughout that entire period. We're continuing to macro, build up our army. One other factor that I didn't talk about earlier in terms of like when we attack is based on how many bases we have. So if we've expanded, the threshold for us to attack goes up, because naturally the assumption is that we're further along in the game. We have more ability to produce units and to support units, and sort of the army size at that point has to be larger to account for that, because they have as well, like we know they have expanded as well. So it's just another view of our base as we move in our guys here. Guys are taking our sweet time. Alright, now we've got the guys moving in, we have our vultures moving in, fire bats, slow this down. So a lot of our infantry got wiped out, running in there to kill these sunkens. Sunkens are somewhat difficult to deal with. It just depends on how well we attack them. Again, this would be better if we grouped our units like on the initial push better. It worked out better. This is partly a feature, partly a bug. You have our units sort of like patrolling this area back and forth here. Their attack moving throughout, so it's sort of just like owning the map. It's a common Terran strategy is to try and like dominate the map. Partly what it's doing here. Part of it is also some lingering issues with how we interface between the finite state machines and the actual behavior tree. So we're continuing to attack here. We're just really just wiping them out at this point. We see we're up at 108 supply. You've heard those popping sounds, those are vulture mines that were going off and killing their units. You can also see that starting to play around up here. Speed this up a little bit. And you can see the bomb set going off as you can probably scan this guy. Yeah, we did. But unfortunately he moved there we go, we scanned it again, but we're probably going to get killed. Alright, so now that their base is gone, we're moving all of our units over here, so we got a ton of units, and this guy is not being cooperative. Yeah, so that's an issue. Preventing our units from actually getting up to join the rest up here. We're actually expanding to this base as we're killing it, so everything's coming down here. See all of our units. See that little block up there got alleviated, and we won the match as we were expanding to our third base. So again, it's pretty good. I think that gives you a good sample of what our AI is capable of. Just a splash screen at the end, we have almost twice their score. Like you see, particularly in stuff like structures, we're just really dominating them because we have a lot of production facilities and we're utilizing them to the maximum. So yeah, thanks for watching.